Hello there, and welcome back to the vlog where I talk about Star Wars shows on Disney Plus. And the episode we are talking today is Chapter 2 of the Book of Boba Fett that I did not write down to my memory of what the name was, but that's okay. It's Chapter 2.
Got this Gaffi stick in my hand, and I'm through. There'll be a hole in that train, big enough to drive a Tuscan through. Oh, I've got this Gaffi stick in my hand, and when I'm through, there'll be a hole in that wall, big enough to drive a Tuscan through.
Okay then. I'm going to talk about this in rather than linear through the show. I'm going to talk about the present or the I guess present time, and then the flashbacks. Because I can't, actually, honestly, I wouldn't be able to sit here and go back and forth between the flashes. Although there's not a lot. We're going to start in the present though, because there's less there. So we left off in the previous episode with Boba getting attacked outside of the cantina that I can't remember the name of, but Jennifer Beals owns it, so that's cool. Boba was beat up pretty good, but his Grimorian guards got him out of there, and he sent Fennec to go retrieve a survivor of the assassins, and Fennec did do that. And so we cut to Boba interrogating this assassin, which was fun because we had Fennec off to the side, just talking about how these guys weren't real good assassins anyways, and they ended up bluffing their way into getting this guy to admit who hired him by throwing him into the Rancor pit and saying the Rancor was going to, even though we know the Rancor is dead. Rest in peace. So the assassin said it was the mayor of, I wish I could remember the name of the town that it was, but it was from the previous episode where the emissary was very snarky to them. So Boba Fett and his entourage, which is just Fennec, Shad, Fennec, and the two Gamorrean guards, head out to that town. And I think it's really worth noting that anything that we've seen on Tatooine has been very rough. Even Jabba's palace, I wouldn't say would be like the seat of luxury. It's very dark and dirty. And this very much, I guess this was a very prosperous town. The city hall might as well have been a palace. Everyone's wearing white and clean. It's very much not what we've seen from Tatooine. So it kind of makes you wonder what's going on there. It felt like they were going into a luxury spa trying to see this mayor, and they just kind of busted in. And we get to see this mayor, who I was delighted to see was a Ithorian. And Ithorians are one of my favorite non-human beings in the Star Wars universe. You might remember them. I want to say you saw an Ithorian in the first Star Wars movie. And it's like a hammerhead saddle alien thing with the head. Like they have a very big saddle-like head with like a hammerhead thing on top. They got little beady eyes. And what's interesting is they've got two mouths down here on the side that they can speak through like equally. And just for the way that their throats are structured, they can't actually speak common or basic. Is it basic? What is the default language in Star Wars universe? Please let me know. Anyway, they can't do that. They have to it's very almost whale-like. In the cartoons, they show them like having like big uh, throats like baleen whales. Uh, and in fact, one of them in the original Clone Wars cartoon, there was a Jedi Ithorian who had like this real awesome like sonic force push out thing. It was just really neat. I really love these guys. Doc Andar down at Galaxy's Edge in Disney in the Disney parks. He's an Ithorian. Anywho, so we got this Ithorian who's got some sort of translator box who talks in a very. I recognize the voice. Sitting here now, I should have looked it up to see who it was. I don't remember. Anyway, it was a voice, and it was very. It came off very condescending. Their conversation basically saying, very, very welcoming, but also not taking him seriously, which, must have been slightly infuriating. But, and I have some confusion with this, but I mean, as far as what's going on here, I mean, he denied sending the assassin. They killed the assassin. And then Boba makes a pretty indignant speech about how he's the daimyo now, and basically the Ithorian mayor sent him back to that cantina where Jessica Biel's is the proprietor. So they go back there. I'm sensing those times. I'm pretty sure it's not like the same town or anything. It's just kind of the way they shot it. It made it seem like they just walked down the street to the cantina. Anywho, so we go in there, and the Jessica Biel's was very nonplussed to see them. Like kind of like, oh my god, this is embarrassing. Again, like people aren't taking him seriously, which I guess tracks. And then you start hearing like drums in the background, and everyone all freaks out. And so Team Boba goes out of the street, and down on a palanquin, being carried by a bunch of slaves are two huts, the twins, which I'm not familiar enough with the lore to know if they've shown up before or been mentioned, but you get the idea that these are the niece and nephew of Jabba the Hutt. And while they basically kind of enjoyed the lifestyle of a Hutt as far as the luxury and pleasures, it sounds like now they're taken seriously and want to take over their uncle's empire. And so there's a confrontation there. Real fun of note that there was a black and gray Wookiee there. I believe it was a Wookiee. I feel like that's an established character in Star Wars, but I don't know who it is. Again, apologies. Basically, they have a standoff, and the Hutts back off. And that's kind of where we leave it in the present day, and it goes back to Boba Fett with the Tuskens. And a lot has happened there. So, like, when we left off, he had kind of become accepted by the tribe. And this is more of him, like, being accepted. He's learning how to use a Gaffi stick, which I talked about before in the Mandalorian verse. I just absolutely love those. Those are so neat. So he's training. We get a slow progression. Well, not quick. I'm sorry, quick progression. A lot of stuff happens in this episode. And it happens so quick, but it's really amazing how effective it is. And I'm going to zip through this because I don't want this video to be super long. But, we get a very, very typical, like, montage, not montage, just a quick run through of him getting the respect. We get an attack by a train, like a hover train going through the dune, which is very reminiscent of like a typical train in the Old West, just going through, and they're just passing through, but they're shooting at everyone, and they kill a bunch of Tuskens, and it's pretty horrible, and it inspires Boba to do something about it. So what he does is he goes out, he walks to a bar somewhere, and he steals a bunch of speeders, and he beats the crap out of the guys that own those speeders and then takes the speeders. He goes back to the Tuskens, and then he trains them how to use it. And it's a fun riff of what we saw before of him trying to use the Gaffi stick. Now him showing him how to use these speeders and this plan of attack to stop this train. And basically, he basically signs to the leader there like, I'm going to stop this train for you. Long story short, he trains them how to use it. They have a plan of attack where they they have some sharpshooters that take out some of the gunners, but mostly it's boarding the train, which is a very fun sequence. And we get to see the droid that's conducting. It's like a conductor droid, which was really awesome and fun. It was just a great sequence, and I'm really skimming over it. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. They get control of the train. They crash it down, and then they just loot the train. And take everything that's valuable out of it. And basically, to the survivors, Boba basically mandates how these Tuskens now this is their land, and if they want these trains to go through uninterrupted, they're going to have to pay a toll. Which, when we're looking at it, felt really right and good. And from this, we get a real squelchy sequence in Celebration where the leader of these Tuskens gives him a gift, which is an adorable little lizard in a box, which Boba's like, yeah, cool, I'll do something with this. And that lizard leaps into his, I don't know if it was his nose or his mouth, and the whole thing is it puts him on a psychedelic journey where he flashes back some more and looks at his past and the things that he's dealt with growing up. A lot of it was, him as a clone and losing his father, which, encompasses a lot of the story that we know about Boba Fett. And when he and it leads him to this tree where he grabs a branch and returns. And then with that branch, they fashion him his own Gaffi stick, which is a real cool sequence. And then the episode ends with him getting robed in black robes, basically becoming one of the Tuskens. It was a very good episode, even though it felt very abrupt as far as what happened in the past, which is really good, and then what happened in the future, which just, we're just kind of getting bits and pieces. Like, they kind of punt on who sent the assassins and then why, because then you kind of get the feeling like, well, the Hutt sent the assassins, and did the mayor do it for him? I don't know. There's some stuff there, but it's still just excellent thus far. I'm really excited for it. The biggest thing that I had making this delay making this, is just there was so much to talk about. And even now, I have about a minute left, and I just didn't talk about a lot. Real quick, I wanted to talk real quick about the composer of this, the same guy that does The Mandalorian, Ludwig Göransson. He is awesome. I really hope that in the future Star Wars universe movies that they use him. The sound that he brings to this universe is both familiar and alien, and it's just tremendous. I love it so much. Yeah, this is great. I'm gonna hopefully whip out the third video pretty soon after the episode airs. I just wanted to get this done, and that's it. I will talk to you all later. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.
I guess a Mandalorian would simply blast it. I'm a clone, and after all, it's my speeder, ain't it? I've got this Gaffi stick in my hand, and when I'm through, there'll be a hole in that train big enough to drive a Tusken through. Oh, I've got this Gaffi stick in my hand when I'm through. there'll be a hole in that train big enough to drive a Tuscan through.